Yeah. Tell me what got gun on that thing. Yeah. Yo, if I were podcasting, it would be insane. Knowledge flowing like the sweetest rain. Professor Bear on the mic, spreading wisdom wide. The best thoughts, that's my pride, can't hide.
With the voices in your ear, changing the game.
If I rule podcasting, every thought we'd ignite. In a world of chatter, we'll just walk in the fight. With Professor Bear, we're climbing to new heights. A Best Thoughts podcast, shining bright in the night. Topics from the heart, never sounding the same. Got laughs and debates, never dull or bland. From culture to tech, take you by the hand. Join the ride with us, feel the vibe expand. With every episode, we shine that
beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul.
So tune in, don't miss what we got to share. If I rule podcasting, I spread the love everywhere.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me this evening. I am Professor Bear, and this is a Bear's Thought. And today, not just today, 2026 has already started out being such an amazing year. I've been blessed to have so many different people on my show, and just to have this Wrestling Podcaster Appreciation Month has been such a great ideal and blessing, because I get to meet so many new people, get to learn their starts and hear about how they do things in the podcast world. But this gentleman with me today is a little more special in the sense that he and his partner, Nick, who's missing, love you, Nick, they have came under the WSN umbrella. This is the Wizard, CZ, and they are Card Subject to Change podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
I am feeling really good, Bear. I'm happy to be on the show. I know Nick sends his regards, but he had family obligations tonight, so was not able to make it. But I'm excited to talk with you tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. So, like I always do with the first question, how did you get into wrestling?
So I started during the Golden Era. My earliest memories are the Mega Powers storyline. So I was a big Hogan fan at the time. I'm not so much now, but I neither here nor there. I remember watching Saturday night's main events with a buddy in our living room at home. Kind of fell off for a little bit and then came back headstrong and full on in the Attitude Era. That's really where my heart lies. The Attitude Era was just my wheelhouse and still is. You know, I'll go back and watch shows from there all the time.
Definitely, I definitely understand that. Everybody has that niche, and generally it's what you came up in, or something that just really made you become that wrestling fan. So I definitely understand it. Now, with that, what where does the transformation from just being a fan to being a podcaster, how does that happen?
So it actually started back in 2011, 2012. I was a ring announcer for a local wrestling company. Actually, for 3 local wrestling promotions. Now that I think about it, 2 of them were not the greatest. One of them is still in existence, SCW Pro, and that is the uh, what's the right word for it? That is the proving ground for the Black and Brave graduates here in Davenport, Iowa. So we've got Seth Rollins School right in our backyard. Uh, Personal reasons took me out of ring announcing for a while. I just became a fan again, and then I started working at my current job. Met my friend DJ, and we got to know each other a little bit. And he's like, "You're a fan of wrestling?" Yep, so am I. And he said, I've been looking for someone to do a wrestling podcast on our network, and I think you'd be great for it. And I've got just the perfect partner for you. And it happened to be Nick Bull. Nick has a very similar story on his end, not through working with DJ, but knowing him through sports events, things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
But Nick and I used to work together at a TV station here in town. It's been probably about 18 years now. 2008 is when I left, and he left shortly after. So we've known each other for a long time, and kind of drifted apart. Everybody, life happens.
Yep.
And then DJ brought us back together. When he said Nick's name, I'm like, "Do you mean this guy, Nick?" "Yeah, do you know him?" "Do I know him?" "Absolutely."
Now, how ironic was that?
This is crazy. It was like the stars aligned. And Nick talks about being part of the tape trading days. I will fully admit I used to have the WWE 24/7 on my cable channels. So I would record shows off of there, and I had a DVD recorder at the time. Nick has a CD case that's probably about this thick, full of DVDs that I recorded for him and another friend of ours.
You said that, so I'm gonna grab one of my 2 books. This is one, and the other one is too heavy to pick up. It like that.
Jeez.
So yes, I definitely understand where you go. And as a matter of fact, I still have VCR tapes of wrestling, and which was even more funnier. I worked at Toys R Us for 15 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get stuff and it doesn't sell, and either we have to send it back or we just mark it down to get rid of it. Anytime we got wrestling tapes, I made sure a couple of them didn't sell. So you're the first person I even ever told that to.
Well, now the world knows, Bear.
I know. You're going to come get me for that.
No, I don't think they will.
So, when y'all first started doing the podcast, what was the direction that y'all were going for?
So we started our first show, hit the audio platforms on August 1st of 2022. I don't think we really had a set game plan other than we were just going to talk wrestling. We did a handful of review shows of older events. Our first episode was talking about SummerSlam 2022. But then I have a guilty pleasure for garbage wrestling pay-per-views, so I made Nick watch Slamboree 2000 at one point. And then I just had this idea. We have this wrestling promotion in our backyard. Why don't we see if any of the wrestlers want to come on and talk about their life in wrestling? So we invited one of the Black and Brave coaches, Merrick Brave. He was our first guest. And it just went downhill or it just was a snowball from there because we had a lot more fun bringing on wrestlers and wrestling associated people. So that's just where that just became our niche. We still do review shows of the major pay-per-views, though I think Nick and I have talked about cutting back on that a little bit this year. It was about 13 episodes in before we really found our groove with the interviews, and it just has spiraled from there.
It's kind of funny and ironic because I had a episode right before this one, and we had talked about giving advice, and they were talking about you have to be true to yourself.
Yes.
And also, it's okay if you don't know what direction you want to go. You have time. Just take your time and do what is comfortable. And it's the exact same thing that you were talking about how y'all started. And I love that because not every podcast is the same.
Right.
And not all podcasters can do the same as other podcasts. Do you feel like with y'all's podcast and the format y'all go, do you think that y'all stand out from other podcasters doing similar styles?
Yes and no. I think it depends on the show. I mean, I know there are some podcasts that do similar with us. I feel like we have our pulse on independent wrestling, at least here in the Midwest. And that's what I love about it. But I know other shows that do the same. I think we stand out? Sure. We have I think everybody can feel our energy when they watch one of our shows and we're talking with these wrestlers, and we try and not only spread our good energy to them, but when we have guests on, they usually are reciprocating that good energy, and I think that creates a unique environment.
Very, very true. I think you're 100% on that. Oh, by the way, guys, girls, you see this nice QR code right just above me? That is a link. That QR code will send you to Subject to Change podcast page on YouTube. Go check them out. Go. I promise you that you will enjoy their work. They are tremendous. And I'm not just saying that because they're a part of WSN, but it's because I really enjoy their work. There's certain levels when you really want to work with people and think that you gel and you want the same thing and you can grow together. And with subject card to change is that. And the thing is too, when you have like-minded people and to the point of we're friends, it's so unique and fun when you have similarities with people, but then you grow a kinship and friendship. It takes it to a whole different level.
I can completely agree with that. I've always, from my personal experience in the wrestling business, at least whenever I go to an independent show or am part of an independent show, it feels like a family. And I feel podcasting has brought that aspect as well. You know, you and Joe Monroe and a handful of other people really close to. It's a family environment, and we all look out for each other, which I love.
Definitely, and you said it right on the head. Independence feels like a family affair. I love to say it's a family reunion. You get to see people, and then you're how well you're concerned of somebody. If you don't see them for a few shows, then they pop up again. You're like, hey, I'm glad you're here. Are you okay? Are things okay? You're genuinely concerned, and it's just a great feeling.
Yes, I completely agree. And I have a couple friends that one of my good friends, I'm not going to drop names, but he had to step away from the wrestling business about a year ago. And I still keep in touch with him, but I know people that I talk to that have watched him in the ring that know who he is. They're always asking, how's he doing? How's he doing? And he had personal reasons for stepping away, and I miss seeing him in the ring every time I'm at an independent show. He's one of the few people that I would go out of my way to go see. And now that he's not wrestling, at least for the time being, it sucks. I miss him.
Yeah, I definitely can understand that. So, what is it like to be a podcaster in the Midwest? And the reason, and some people may think that's a silly question, but I'm from the South, and I know the way I think and the way a lot of people take independent wrestling here. And I'm just curious, is it similar? Is it different? And what is the difference?
So the first thing I'll say in that regard is I feel here in my area in particular, we are very blessed as far as the independent scene. I'm right on the Iowa-Illinois border, and there are probably 10 different promotions, if not more, that are within a 2-hour drive of where I'm at. So I get to pick and choose what I want to see and who I want to watch wrestle. I mean, I can't speak for other podcasters. I think I can speak for Nick, but the whole family aspect comes into play, and meeting new people, getting to know them. I always go to a show, and in the back of my mind is, okay, who have we not talked to, and how can I bring them on the show? Now, to counter that, Nick is always telling me when he's at a show with me, you are not allowed to work tonight. We are here to enjoy wrestling.
I can understand that, but man, you have opportunities. You can't let them go by.
Right.
So no, I get the balance. You can still have fun, but man, if you get a chance, hey, I'm just gonna slide our card your way. We can.
Exactly. One of the most recent shows I was at, Nick and I met Jake the Snake Roberts. That was awesome. But Nick said to me, I don't want you to work tonight, but if you're going to do any work, I want you to get this guy on the show. His name is Iori St. Clair. And I look at Nick and I'm like, I've already got him booked. Who do you think you're talking to?
So I take that the dynamic between you and Nick is you're the guy to go get the people.
Yes, I am. I am the booker. So Nick always goes to that old Brian Pillman line. I respect you, Booker man.
I love it.
So funny story with that, Nick. I refer to Nick and I as the steak and the sizzle. I'm the steak. He's the sizzle. We had the privilege of talking for about 10, 15 minutes with Buff Bagwell early last year. We also had the Headbangers on that same show. When I said to the Headbangers that we were, how I referred to us as the steak and the sizzle, Thrasher thought I said the scissors, the steak and the scissors. So they go off and they talk to Buff, and where Nick and I are bantering on this live show, Buff comes in and he says, I am so glad to be here with the steak and the scissors. And Nick and I, we just couldn't stop laughing. That was one of the most memorable moments of last year, I think.
Oh my God. Who is the most I don't want to say famous. Who is the biggest person that y'all have talked to, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I would say it's a toss up between Buff Bagwell and Mick Foley. They were both generous enough to give us about 10 to 15 minutes of their time, which we didn't want anymore. Mick actually, so they were both at a Comic-Con here in our area. And we had talked to the guy who runs the con, asked if we could get some time with the wrestlers who were there. Mick was very adamant. I only want to do like 5 minutes. And then he talked for 13.
I can speak from experience, and I know this is the same for y'all. We are very respectful of anybody that gives us their time.
Yes.
If they tell us a certain time frame, we do our damnedest to make sure it's right on that time frame. But when you are talking to someone and you're about to cut it off, and they're like, "Oh no, we can go," or they just keep talking,
Yep.
You feel like, man, they make you feel special, that you know you're doing something special because they were adamant about a time frame, and then, well, we can go a little longer. We can go a little longer.
It was a great feeling that day. That's probably one of my fondest memories of meeting someone in the wrestling business.
Now,
someone big.
Right. I'm not going to ask for a name, but can you tell me an experience with someone that you were like, I could have went the rest of my life and never met you?
Yeah. I'm not going to drop a name, but it's someone who has been in the major promotions at one point. I'm not going to lie. He gave us a great interview. He gave us about 15 to 16 minutes of his time, but that's because the show that he was on, after agreeing to come on the show with us, asked for more money to do our interview at the show. And that left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I definitely would understand that, and I can't help it. I'm going to be truthful. I'm petty as hell. If someone will pull that against me, I will tell them, take your damn self, get the hell on. You never have to worry about me asking you for an interview. And if we're in the same building and somebody say, hey, he is willing to do it, I would say, kiss my ass.
If I had known before he did the interview with us, I would have felt the same way. I didn't find out until after he had finished talking with us that he had to have his palms greased a little bit to do the interview he had agreed to do months ahead of time.
And again, wrestling is no different than any other sport or business. You're going to have those people who are out for themselves. They don't have respect, and it's a way to make money. And it's so sad because I think one of the most disappointing aspects of doing podcasts is having, I won't call it beef, but disagreements with other podcasters.
Yeah.
And it be for the dumbest reasons. And I can speak to this because of you being there and on the chat and stuff. Sometimes it's so draining. It's like, oh, this, okay. Screw them. I don't care. As long as they don't do something stupid and put their hands on me, or talk about family,
Yeah.
whatever.
That when that stuff happens though, when they start talking about family or start throwing hands, it that the gloves are off. Everything goes out the window at that point.
And it's so sad because we all are blessed to be in, and it's hard, and I say this with all respect, that we're in the wrestling business. Sometimes I still don't believe it, but we are. And it's such a blessing that we, as non athletes, as fans, to get to talk to these people that we see on TV, that we admire, that we enjoy their work. And it's a job for us. I mean, not a lot of people get a chance to have a job they actually enjoy.
Right. But I mean, let me ask you, Bear, is it really a job if we're having fun doing it?
Exactly. Exactly.
I am very grateful to everyone who comes on Card Subject to Change. There is not a single guest except for maybe who we spoke about earlier that I will look back on and say, man, I really wish they hadn't come on. I really wish I never interacted with them.
Yeah, and knock on wood, I've been very blessed for everyone um come on my show, because it in my mind, in the scheme of things, you could be with other podcasters, you could be doing something else, but you took the time to bless me with your presence, to so we could talk. So hopefully I can help elevate you as well as you're elevating me. Man, again, it's like, uh, it's cool. It's a great feeling.
And that is one of the main reasons I love talking to independent wrestlers because it's kind of a we're patting each other on the back. It's one hand helping the other. I'm giving them a platform to get themselves out there, and at the same time, they're bringing in their own fan base to our podcast to see what they have to say. And I that's what I love about what we do, and I will stand by the fact I may not say this on air publicly, but I feel like we are the voice of independent wrestling, or one of the voices of independent wrestling, I should say.
What I I never said, I never really even thought about it until a wrestler actually told me that. And it really made me think. I have this responsibility, and wrestlers are super appreciative of it. And I'm like, man, I don't want to mess them up. I don't want to make them look bad. So I have to be the best version of me. So when they are seen, they can make themselves bigger, grow, and get some legitimacy from, hey, I saw you on that podcast. That guy is good. And you had such an amazing podcast with him. Those things mean the world to me.
I agree. Completely agree.
So, knowing how much y'all love the indies, and I know you keep up with the majors, and I already know the answer, but I just want to ask it anyway. Which one do you have the most fun with, rather?
Definitely the indies. I mean, I don't like to talk bad about any wrestling at all, but the major shows have been kind of a letdown for the last few months. And I say that with all due respect, but it's on both sides of the fence. I try not to promote tribalism. I try not to lean one way or the other, but I definitely am a WWE guy, but that's mostly because of my upbringing. But I mean, I don't know if you watched Raw this week, but it sucked.
Oh, oh, and you know what made it suck for me worse than anything? I actually had high hopes for it. And I think, and one of the things where I was disappointed, I got disappointed and didn't catch something so tremendous that should be talked about and praised more than it is Raw. Out of the matches, they had 3 women's matches and 1 men's match. How many times can they say that?
That's very true. And that, in that aspect, it was great. I mean, the show started off. I had high hopes at the beginning because the women's tag match at the beginning of the show was really good. I wouldn't say it was great by any means, but it was a good match. Gunther's promo with AJ, other than him doing the Cena thing, which I'm getting tired of. I know you are too.
Yes, sir.
That promo was really good. And then we got to Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree. And Maxine has had some really decent matches, in my opinion. I like her work. I think she's come a long way, but she looked so green in that match. It's like her training had all gone out the window. I felt like there were times where she was walking on eggshells when Becky would do a move. Like, it was so unimpactful, I guess is the best word. And I'm not trying to knock them. They're there for a reason. There's a reason that they're signed on the programs they are, but that's when Raw started to really go downhill, and it just didn't recover.
I think that match for me was disappointing, not for the work, because I honestly can't say I even really watched the match. I fast forward through the match. The disappointing thing for me was I knew she was going to lose, and she did.
Yeah.
And now the obvious is going to happen is that Becky is going to take on AJ, and AJ is going to get the title off of her, more than likely at WrestleMania.
I can see that. Yeah. And it's when you know what's going to happen, it really kind of sucks the life out of things. You know, because I know you feel the same way. We like being surprised. We like being wrong.
Oh, yes.
That's one of the most fun parts about watching wrestling is when I don't want to use the term mark at all, but us smarter wrestling fans, not the casual fans, we can generally predict where things are going to go. But when they throw a curveball at us and say, oh, no, this is what's going to happen now, that's what really draws people in.
Exactly. And I think, and then I could see it both ways. I was so disappointed that Punk retained. I really thought, because I was talking with some people, and I was like, I think they could do the Edge treatment with Braun.
Yeah.
Let him get the win on Monday night. It will, I promise you, that would have popped the ratings for them.
Oh, I agree.
Let them have a couple of weeks until the Royal Rumble. They get the rematch. Punk goes over. Then, now you can tell the story of Braun trying to get back to get another title shot. He has to go through the Elimination Chamber.
That's where I think they're going with it overall, is he's going to dominate in the chamber, and that's how he gets his bid for Mania. But I would have loved to see him walk away with the title on Monday. I kind of didn't think it was going to happen, but the way I've seen things playing out is Roman's going to win the Rumble. because it's in Saudi and they want one of the biggest names possible to get the win. Braun's going to dominate an elimination chamber, and then you've got your two matches right there. You've got Punk and Braun, Roman and Cody.
And see, like you, I want some variety. And again, you can do so much. You do not have to have Roman Reigns win the Rumble.
No.
Let a younger guy get it. And then you could go with the storyline. Hey, like Javon Evans did in NXT. Hey, I'm not waiting to Mania. I want my title shot now.
Yeah.
There's the Elimination Chamber main event. Lose.
And the other side of that is, I don't think, it definitely feels like they're going for Roman Cody 3 for Mania. That match doesn't need a title.
No, it really doesn't.
There's no reason that it needs to be for the title. They both have earned their spots on the roster being main eventers, and they don't need that belt.
And you're 100% right. And that's the disappointing aspect of WWE to me. But I still want to give them a chance to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
SmackDown last week was amazing. The upcall Trick Williams made me love SmackDown again. His promo, his character. Let me go back. His character work in the beginning, of course, it was okay.
Right.
But then he turned heel. Okay, that's good. A lot of faces turn heels, give him a chance. He embraced so many different characters into what he does, where he's made it his own. Some of the best comment that he made, especially with Sami Zayn standing there looking at him, he said, "These lemon pepper steppers."
Yeah, that was a great line.
I popped so big. And the first thing that came to my mind was Ric Flair.
I can see it.
And it was like, yes, it's a nod to the old school, but his twist on it. And yes. I loved it.
Can I just say, I like SmackDown more right now than I do Raw. But they should have pulled the trigger on Drew McIntyre 3 months ago.
If I hope we all surprise and let him win. That would be amazing.
Even if he just carries the belt to the Rumble, let him win.
And because they've did the one thing that they couldn't afford to do, he does not look like a credible champion anymore.
No.
The losses, the moaning, the bitching, they have damn near killed him.
And it started at WrestleMania when he lost the title after only holding it for 5 minutes.
I give credit where credit's due. Him and Punk did a hell of a lot better in that feud than I would have ever imagined.
Their Hell in the Cell match is one for the ages.
But they have wrecked him. Another person I think they've wrecked is Damian Priest.
Yep.
And if you have a strong major, you need a stronger undercard. So something happens, you can move the next man up.
Exactly.
That's where the Seth Rollins thing came unglued because he got hurt. So they had to react. And I find it funny that people was okay with the Braun thing, and WWE had to switch because of injury. But Lord, let that happen on AEW. People act like they don't know the person injured. They just, oh God, they don't have any, they just go to anything. They don't make any sense. The person got hurt.
Yeah.
You have to change. That person is hurt. Well, Tony Khan should do this, and why is he going to put a conclusion 7 months after this? It's like, calm down. And like you said, I'm not big on tribalism. What I am big on is everybody has an opinion, and that's fine. We get to express an opinion. But if you don't like my opinion and it bothers you so much, stop tuning into me. There's more podcasters out there. Maybe your cup of tea. But stop being so insulting to people just because they don't look at things your way.
And that's one of the problems I have with the internet wrestling community is they don't. You know, they will purposely tune in out of spite. And that's just sad. You know, sure, I'm not the biggest AEW fan out there. There are things that I like there. There are things that I don't. But I can say that about WWE. I can say that about any indie promotion that I go to. It doesn't mean that because I hate the fact that Jon Moxley bleeds after 2 seconds in his match, that doesn't mean I'm going to watch it because I hate to see him bleed.
Right. That's so true. So true. So what has been, what was the biggest thing that stands out in your mind that happened in 2025? 2025.
Oh, that's really tough.
And it don't have to be necessarily a wrestling moment. It could be a personal moment for you in with wrestling.
I mean, I think, and I'm going to say this, and I know that I've been slacking off at it quite a bit, and I'm trying to get my focus back, but starting additional podcasts with other friends that I say are part of the Card Subject to Change family, particularly Wrestling with Fitness. Now, my buddy Zach and I do that once a month to hold each other accountable. We bring on wrestling guests that are fitness oriented to help us on our journey and hopefully help others who are tuning in. Our buddy Joe, not Monroe, Joe, who we know here locally, came to Nick and I with this great idea where he called it Wrestling Rewatchables. Nick is who dubbed it Wrestlebacks because that's a wrestling term, an amateur wrestling term. You know, if you lose your bracket, you go into the Wrestlebacks I don't know enough about that to say any more than that. But we've done 4 episodes of that. And that's a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite things to do is to sit down because we each get to pick a match. You know, once a month we'll review a match that one of us picks, and we'll talk for 2 hours about that match and what the impact it had. Excuse me. Which cheap plug. We had to push this month's episode back to next Monday because Joe was sick. So that'll be happening. We're reviewing New Year's Revolution 2006, the Elimination Chamber match, and Edge's cash-in. One of my favorite all-time moments. And I'm not ashamed to say that's the one that I picked.
That and that had so many different changes in history with that pay-per-view. And I it, I and the thing that I've thought about is doing something similar to watch stuff back. And I talked to someone again, guys. Forgive me if I don't say your name and your ideals. Everything blends together after a while, but
Especially this month, I would imagine.
oh yes. So they were talking about how they watch certain shows back, and they were like, then we discussed, was it as big as we thought it was then? And I love that concept because some things you watched, you were a kid.
Right.
So now, if you watch it now, would it have the same type of impact that it on you that it did when you watched it as a kid?
Oh, that's a great concept. I love that.
Yes, I thought so too. And I was like, wow, that is good. And I thought about, man, there's so many things I've seen in history that I think are great matches and stuff. And then it's like, if I looked at it now, would I feel that same way?
Right.
And there's like one of my personal all-time favorite matches is a Magnum TA versus Tully Blanchard in an I Quit match.
Okay.
I watch that match back every blue moon, and I can truthfully say that match was better now to me than when I was a kid. The meaning of it, and I was pretty wrestling smart as a kid.
Right.
I got a lot of concepts. But then watching it as an adult, getting the understanding of the feud and how this is what they mean when you want to blow off a feud. Everything was just, I hate to use the term, but perfect. Everything. It was an emotional roller coaster, and you got to see something that you hardly ever see is a bad guy actually eating his words. And it wasn't like, oh, I didn't say it or nothing. He had the mic. He was stabbing him. And he made him say it clearly. And it was just, like I said, it was such a high that I thought to myself, I can't believe, I understand as a kid why I liked it, but it's so much better from the wrestling standpoint, the psychology, everything just was that rare moment where everything was perfect.
It's like, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a wizard. It's like magic. I remember in my ring announcing days, there was a night that everything just fell into place, and I always refer to it as magic, just pure. There's no other word to describe it, and that's what it sounds like. This match is for you, just a magical moment.
Yes. Like, and then I try not to. A lot of times we get into biases for whatever. Sometimes we get the, well, old school is better bias because it's a great memory to us. So we have that bias. Or, of course, the recent bias. Man, that was the last thing I saw and it was good. So I can't remember anything. I'm running with that. Not that it wasn't good. I just can't remember anything else. So I try to really put thought and energy into when someone asks me a question to really put the mind to work to answer it without biases. Of course, we're human. Some days are just going to be like that.
Absolutely. It's like, you say that with biases. That's why. So Nick and I did one episode where we talked about Mount two. Okay, I guess two now, but we talked about our tag team Mount Rushmores in our early days. But I find it so hard to use that Mount Rushmore analogy because there are so many names that should be on there, and there's only room for 4. And for me, it's also subjective because what I said 2.5 years ago, or I guess, 2.5 years ago on that podcast, may have changed by now. I have a different perspective. I haven't really thought about it, but I would wager a guess that I'm not going to have the same tag teams on that Mount Rushmore as I did in 2022. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 that are the same, but I don't think it'd be completely the same.
And like you said, that I mean, it's understandable because we're seeing new stuff. We're seeing tremendous work from different people. And again, going back to the to the biases, it's like, man, but I've seen this in this amount of time, so I think it is. And then it's unfair too, because someone wrestled years ago to think their work is better than someone that's doing it now, because it's different times. It's different. It may, and the errors count for something. So there's so many different factors, and weighing in is so hard. But and just like for me, if we did the Mountain Rushmore tag teams, in my mind, no matter whoever else you can pick, if you don't say, and you don't even have to have watched them, but if you don't have the Road Warriors, it's like, what the hell, man? You don't know what you're talking about. It's like you can have all the other tag teams right, same ones you got. You're like, okay, yeah. Then they say something that's like, wait a minute, you didn't say the Road Warriors. Who's the Road Warriors? Well, I think they're overdone. Get out. The hell out. How and again, it's subjective. Everybody has their faves and stuff. I look at a lot of Mount Rushmores now, and it's always the same similar WWE guys.
Right.
And I'm like, it's a WWE bias. Then I think if you and we did this what was it? We did a top 10 greatest wrestler. And we're sitting there thinking, and how we did it, you had to send in your top 10. Then they tabulated who everybody. Then they ranked them. Then they put 1 versus, just for the sake of argument, 10. Or if they added some people, 12. And we go up and down, and that's how we figured it out. We argued we argued for whoever you had. Then that's how we decided who went on. A lot of times we took votes of the people that were doing it. We told our opinion. If we had a tie, we had the fans tell us who they like, and that's how we got to who we got to. But the reason why I'm saying this in particularly is when I was thinking of my top 10, of course, I'm general, but then I got to thinking, how can you have a top 10 and not have Bruno Sammartino in it? And I get that I wasn't old enough to see Bruno in his title run years,
Right.
but I could go back and see. I hear all the stories. So I'm thinking anybody who can hold the title for 6, 7, 8 damn years straight, they have got to be something.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, is it doing him a disservice saying, well, he's not better than Hulk Hogan? Well, hell, I grew up seeing Hogan, but I
Right.
didn't see Bruno. But Bruno, it's like Bruno held the title straight. Hogan lost it this time. And so it's certain things. So it's like, oh man, I really have to try to put my biases of thought of me aside and go on different things. And a lot of people don't. Like another person that I think is criminally underrated and not talked about nearly enough is Nick Bockwinkel. He was amazing. He, to me, next to Ric Flair, Nick Bockwinkel is what you want your champion to look like. He just like Cody does now. You want to see them in a suit. You want to see them be able to be articulate. They are the face of your company, and you want them to sell it. Nick Bockwinkel was such a tremendous worker. And again, like I said, we are fortunate enough where we can see tapes, we can see videos, we can see their work. And then we can see, okay, well, it's not the same because the way they work was different. But man, you have to give him credit for what he did.
Yeah.
So again, everything is subjective, but it's so hard. And I definitely understand the Mount Rushmore argument. It's like, ugh.
And being subjective, if you don't take into account the past of wrestling, then first of all, there wouldn't be wrestling today if there weren't the greats in the past.
Exactly.
But you have to understand that was a different era. There were different styles and different sets of, I don't want to say rules, that's not the right word, but there were different sets of circumstances, I guess. Things, you're not seeing somebody jump through the ropes 100 times in a match. You're seeing more actual wrestling and not high flying stuff. And you have to take that into account.
Yes.
Are there people now that are throwbacks to that era? Absolutely.
Gunther is one of those people and I think that's why I love him so much, because it's like, it's almost, to me, it's like a sign of respect and thanking the wrestlers before him.
Amen. And somebody that I'm friends with, I don't talk to him very much anymore because he's a busy dude, but he's making a big name for himself on the indies, and that's the one called Manders. If I could get a match between him and Gunther with their styles, oh boy, I'd be front row for that. But he's another one of those throwbacks, and if you guys are watching and you don't know who Manders is, go out of your way to find him. He is fantastic in the ring. I've referred to him, and I know others have, as a modern day Stan Hansen.
Yes.
It's just, he's amazing to watch, and he's got that contrast of style from where we are today, because he's that throwback to the old school way of doing things.
And I love the different styles and wrestling characters. It's like you like, oh, okay, I'm used to the guys doing the flips and stuff, and then you have that wrestler. They're ground based. They actually do the holds. holes that you hadn't seen. It's like, what the hell is that? What? Then you're looking, depending on which commentary team dealing with. Like Excalibur seems like he knows every wrestling hold ever made. Like he went to the school of oh goodness, his name's Gordon Soley to study. Oh, okay, that. Oh, okay. Like that's what he does to relax on his off time. Him and his wife sitting there, baby, what do you want to do? Well, I'm gonna watch this tape and learn 16 new wrestling holds. What are you gonna do?
And Excalibur reminds me a lot of modern day Mauro Ranallo. Because Mauro would be very much the same. I think he slept with a tape playing wrestling names. What the hell is an Oshigoroshi? Yet he throws that out every time.
Another one of those. I know I'm about to say his name wrong. It's not. I was gonna say Don West. It's not Don, but him and Don were commentary in the early TNA.
Mike
Tenay. Oh my God! I would love to get certain announcers in a room and see who can win in them calling holes.
Tenay was brilliant, and his knowledge of the lucha libre style and moves, I don't think there's ever going to be anyone who could top it.
Because especially we in America, if it wasn't for Mike, we wouldn't know half of the crap going on. And a lot of times he would say something and Bobby's like, what the hell?
I love when him and Dusty were on commentary in WCW. There's one line that stands out to me that I will never forget. I don't remember the move that happened in the ring, but Dusty goes, "Was that a Huracan Rana or a Johnny Come Lately?"
And speaking of that, isn't it amazing how a wrestler becomes a commentator and be the funniest thing in the world?
Yes.
As bad as Booker T is whole wise, he is just funny. A lot of times I think Booker does this on purpose.
I think he does. Absolutely.
It's just his style. And the biggest thing about Booker is I love TNA for he'll get to singing a song or liking a wrestler's move, and he makes it so freaking popular. People will dog Booker, but man, Booker said this, that was funny. He had 17 other things that just sucked, but that one thing was funny.
Booker on the call on NXT is fantastic. I will give a shout out. I don't know if you've watched any of the AAA shows since WWE has purchased them.
Yes.
But JBL now on AAA shows with Corey Graves. Some of the stuff he says, like he compared Dominic Mysterio to Nelson Mandela.
JBL, for as big of a bully he was behind the scenes, he was an amazing, underrated announcer.
Yes.
Oh my God. They sometimes I think they just sit there. What outlandish crap can I say to just pop everybody?
Sometimes so Our local promotion SCW, they do live commentary into the venue,
Uh-huh.
and I'm on the fence whether I like that or not. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. But uh, one of the commentators is a good friend of mine. He, I think, specifically goes out of his way to say something multiple times a show to pop his friends. I think that's his sole purpose, is to get as many of his friends to laugh that are at the show as often as he can.
And that's just fun. And it brings an element of unpredictability,
Yes.
like with Booker. For every criticism that people give him, which a lot of times is rightly deserved, when the match is good, he puts the silliness aside and sells how tremendous that match is.
I agree.
And
He does a great job of that.
Vic Joseph is another underrated talent that I love listening to. His commentary is very good, and I wish WWE would really get him into a prime position.
I can agree with that. He is fantastic. I'm glad that Corey Graves is in the spot that he's in now, because for a while he fell out of favor and disappeared. I think he's fantastic.
When JBL left and Corey came pretty much the number 2 guy, that's why I watched that. A lot of matches I probably would have just turned the channel, but it was Corey's selling of the matches. I love his ring IQ. He's a former wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the little nuggets that I really didn't know. Like, I didn't know him and Punk are really good friends. I didn't realize that. And it brings a different element to the commentary.
It absolutely does. Yeah, it's, and he's got such a passion for the business itself. It shows through his commentating.
It really does. I love when you can look at a show and the commentators just makes it that much better. As much crap as I give Michael Cole, and when they did the heel run, I'm still punishing him for that.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah, right. Michael Cole deserves the spot he is in there. I will say that he's a hell of a lot better, and you can tell a difference since Vince has been gone and Triple H has let him be a commentator again.
Right.
I used to really unfairly, and I will say unfairly, think he was a joke. But then I realized Vince was holding him back, and he is such more talented than I gave him credit for.
And knowing what we know now, looking back to when Vince was running things, I feel bad for Cole, because he would get yelled at on a constant basis. They all would. I watched a clip from Chris Van Vliet interview with Todd Grisham, and he just would go on about how Vince would berate him in the headset. So,
the only thing I can say to those guys who put up with that stuff is, God bless you.
amen.
I'm not that just badass. Even though my nickname is Bear, I am not a bear unless you push me to be one.
Right.
And you're not going to continuously put me down. You're definitely not going to humiliate me in front of people. I don't give a damn who you are or what we do. You're gonna talk to me better than that. I would not stand for it. And hearing some of the stories, like you said, I don't know how they were able to do it.
I don't either. I wouldn't have been. I would have walked day one.
I would have probably pulled the Joey Styles number. Wait till I'm on there and just go. Even though, and I will say that was, even though it was a work, that was beautiful. That's one of the greatest things I loved about that. They did ECW so wrong on so many different levels.
Yep.
But Joey Styles in that interview against the King was tremendous.
Very, very much so. Excuse me.
So, before we go, what is your goal for 2026 as a podcaster?
Biggest goal I have is to extend our reach further than we are. And by that, I mean bringing on guests from outside of our area. We've had people reach out from South Dakota recently that we're going to have on. I would love to get more people from down south, from the West Coast, the East Coast. I would love to have as many people on that are unique to hear their stories as possible.
I love that. I love the reaching out and growing. I honestly think if you're in podcasting and you do not want to grow, you will not be in podcasting long.
Right.
Again, it's amazing for all the fans we have, because I think I can speak for you on this too. Never would have imagined that. But now that it's here, I want more. I want my voice to be out there. I want to be able to, where people have conversations where they talk about, Professor Bear, he is hilarious, but he's knowledgeable. And they can talk about me next to some of the people they consider greats.
Absolutely.
And that I think that, well, I don't think I know. That's one of the reasons why I am so glad that y'all decided to come join the network. I'm so honored and touched to be able to call you a friend. I'm so glad that I'm able to give flowers. Nick, you get flowers too, my friend. If you don't watch this back, then I didn't say nothing nice. If you watch it back, it's all love. But all seriousness, I really want to thank both of y'all for everything y'all do. As you definitely already know, I'm a big opponent of giving people their flowers and letting them know how much they mean to not only to myself, but to their fans and the growing fans that they're going to get. And man, I just want to say thank you, and God bless you for everything you do and that you will do in the future.
I appreciate that. And I can speak for Nick on this. We are very appreciative of you and Joe Monroe, who were instrumental on, I wouldn't know you if I didn't know Joe. And yep. I don't think we'd be on WSN if I didn't know both of you. And we truly appreciate the opportunity. And like I said, I'll speak for Nick on this all day. we cannot wait to see what the future brings.
I can't either. And one of the and I've said this multiple times, and I mean this from my heart. You never have to worry about us trying to change y'all. We are the only thing we want is to help make your platform even bigger. That's it. We if we didn't look, if I felt like we had to get y'all and then have to tweak this and do this and that, that's too much work. And you've shown that y'all are a commodity. Why in the hell would that's just like coming and getting Coke and ah yeah, I know you it went here, but I'm gonna add this and do this and no. You leave it as is. When y'all feel like y'all need to change, y'all tweak. And that's what makes y'all and y'all show special.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much for those kind words.
No problem, no problem. Guys, girls, again, thank you. And I hope and pray that y'all are having as much fun as I am getting to talk to so many new friends, old friends, and learning. And one of the big things this one reason why I really wanted to do this is to get to the inside so you can learn the podcaster's point of view, why they do it, how they have fun, how they came up, and a lot of us are lucky enough that the podcasting has transcended us to actually work with promotions and get to meet wrestlers and befriend them. It is such an amazing ride, and it's just something that is such a blessing that I'm never gonna not my blessing at all.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, before I get off of here, as I always, and will continue to do, please, please, please support your local indie wrestling. I will never say it's better. I will never say it's not better. What I will tell you is you get a different experience with indie wrestling. And like anything else, yes, you have good indie wrestling, you have bad indie wrestling, but give it a chance. Give it a fair chance. And you may be surprised on how much you love it and want more of it and be wanting to kick yourself in the butt that you waited so long to take that step, because I do it all the time. So, with that being said, I am Professor Burr. This is a Bear's Thought, and we will be around the campfire with more and more amazing stories and guests real soon. So, y'all have a great evening and go to Indy. Do the Indies. You have a great night.